Good morning and welcome to Today in the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Damlola Ogunshaki, and of course here we'll be reviewing the front pages of the paper, and of course after the break we have a guest who will also be analysing some of the stories with us. But first let's review the front page of Vanguard newspaper, and here we have ONDO, Akeredolu floors and Jegede and Ajayi beat Jegede with 97,039 votes, extends olive branch to opponents, pledged not to betray people's trust. We are studying results, says Jegede and Ajayi. Buhari, Oshomole, APC, others congratulate Akeredolu. Results reflect people's wish. That's coming from Hiaga Africa. You can see more of that on page 9, and also you can see the point of the APC, PDP and ZLP post on the front page of Vanguard newspaper. And away from that, we move straight to page 5. We have IG disbands SARS, pledges advanced police reforms. Gbaja hails Buhari, Inspector General of Police, for dissolving SARS. Release all hashtag end SARS protesters, NBA tells Inspector General of Police. Police assault Ara's TV cameraman shortly after ban on SARS. I'll never be part of any status quo where citizens' right to life becomes negotiable, and that's coming from Buhari. SARS fundamental to pursuit of peace, tranquility, and that's coming from Zamfara governor. Catholic Church backs SARS dissolution, says security officers must repent for their extortion, brutality against civilians. Police arraigned 14 suspects in Ugeli. And also on the front page, we still have a population of extremely poor persons in Nigeria hits 102 million, and that's coming from NECA. The writer says global statistics expected to reach 150 million by 2021, and that's coming from World Bank. Government must give support to organized business to strive, flourish, and tackle insecurity, and that's coming from economist analyst. Improving ease of business will attract investment. That's coming from experts, and you can see that inside the Vanguard newspaper. On page 15, we have SARS deviated from original concept, says Midenda, that's the founding commander. On page 8, we have maritime workers list calls are responsible for Oshodi Apapa gridlock, give federal government 21-day ultimatum. And on page 6, we have varsity lecturer, wife, 3 children, 2 others killed in Benue auto crash. Now moving on to the stories above the nameplates. On page 6, we have 6 died, 10 rescued as 3-story building collapses in Lagos. Still on page 6, another GSS3 students gang raped in Lagos. On page 7, we have federal government earmarks 152 billion naira for electricity. Information Ministry plans to spend 1.3 billion naira on travels, refreshments, and others. Still on page 7, and lastly on front page of Vanguard, we have we will soon expose those feeding fat on IPPIS, says ASU. And from Vanguard, we move straight to the Punch newspaper, and on the front page of the Punch newspaper, we have APC praises peace moves for Akeredolu's re-election. Governor wins 15 local governments, floors deputy in home base. Jegede wins Akure councils. Ruling party says reconciliation fruitful. PDP campaign council keep mum. You can see that on page 2. And also here below the nameplate, we have 7 killed, 10 rescued as Lagos building under construction collapse. Court summons Odua's GMD, others for contempt. And lastly, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, we have Oluwo's vehicle stolen in Lagos hotel, and that's coming from Aid. And from the Punch, we move straight to the Nation. And here on the Nation, we have the photo story of Governor Akeredolu, and says Akeredolu, it's awesome. Governor re-elected in a massive pan-state victory. Buhari APC governors excited. And here there's a statement. It says we are elated to receive a scorecard through a statewide publicity, and the resounding victory throws an open challenge. We have noted the few dissenting voices of protest, and we heard them loud and clear. And that's all we have on the front pages of the papers this morning. Like I said before, we'll be going on a short break now, and we have a guest who will be joining us in the studio after the break. But while we're on the break, you can always like and follow us on our social media platforms that are showing on your screen, or visit our website www.vanguard.com to get more of our top stories, as to still get more information on the just completed ONDO election. We'll be back.
State Assembly, where youth are protesting and calling for the end of SARS. We can see youth with different placards calling for the end of SARS and saying that the youth should stop being killed, and also that the SARS should end and they should reform the police.
That was stopped in Lagos. If somebody offends, you cannot go and arrest their mother or their father or their cousin. So every Nigerian is our truth. Now, so basically, everybody backs. This is before you even protested. That is how it's going to be. But remember, we also had a meeting with the IG. It's the police. They said now, you cannot see all the young men that has laptop as criminals. A young man that has a phone as a criminal. We know they are criminals. We know. But within this country, they are all innocent and improving country. Yes. You cannot be guilty just because you don't like my face. Yes. Or because you don't like my hair. Yes.
Okay, so why are you calling for the end of SARS?
We are calling for them because we are tired for oppression, we are tired for extradition killing, we are tired of extortion, and we are tired for all this mess they are putting in the house. Is it a crime for you to do this? They are immediate disbandments and the suspension of activities. If that is not done, we are afraid that this will make us the condition.
All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Today in the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Damlola Ogunshagi, and we've reviewed the front pages of some of the papers, and now this is the analysis segment where we have a guest joining us in the studio, and he's in the person of Mr. Ali Mohammed, CEO of Magnet Communications and former editor of Concord newspaper and Daily Times Nigeria. You're welcome this morning.
Good morning.
Yes. Okay, so over the weekend we had a lot of things that went on, starting from the ONDO election and also the results, and also SARS, and of course NECA's report release. But let's start with that of ONDO election. You know, a lot of things happened over the weekend, on Saturday, I mean, during the election. I know people were really expecting ONDO election to be a reflection of ONDO election free and fair. So from what happened and what you've heard, the report you've seen, what's your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the ONDO election?
Well, to the extent that the election has come and gone and no life was lost, we thank God that we didn't have any death, we didn't have injuries. The main thing that really went wrong with that election was vote buying. All the parties were involved, but some other parties became more involved than the others. And at the end of the day, the best party in that aspect of the election won. We thank God it has come and gone. Like I said, no fatalities were recorded, and then I listened to the speech of the winner, Akeredolu, asking all the other parties that participated to join him in moving the state forward after the election. And I think he has shown a lot of magnanimity in victory. It wasn't a very bad election, apart from the vote buying. People capitalizing on the poverty situation in the country to induce people to vote for them. You can't rule that out in the situation where people are hungry. A lot of Nigerians have been pauperized, and they can take anything to do anything. So it is sad, but it is an observation, and I don't think that is enough to totally condemn the election. It has come, and I think I want to urge the other parties to maintain the peace that has remained part of the electioneering campaign and the election, and then move the state forward. We should look for a way of solving the poverty problem in Nigeria. Poverty is a terrible thing. It can make anybody to do anything, and that is what we saw.
I think we'll talk about that when we are discussing the NECO's report. But right now, still talking about those elections. Do you think the vote buying? Do you think it really affected the results?
Yes, it did. We saw people, even policemen, were bribed to allow some people to vote. We saw videos of vote buying and all that. Like I said, it's not enough to totally condemn the election. People are just capitalizing on the situation that we find ourselves as a nation. All the parties were involved, from what I saw. PDP, ZLP, APC, the best party in that aspect of the election merely won. That's all.
Okay, can you also say that the card reader being faulty also affected the result, because Jegede once mentioned, PDP's Jegede mentioned that a card reader actually failed to accredit him.
But he was devoted. You see, the card reader is a way of identifying you electronically. If that fails, and you are identified manually, you are still allowed to vote. So I don't think the failure of the card reader affected or disenfranchised anybody. Okay, now, but you mentioned, you said this card reader now, it's to identify you electronically. Now we're talking about voting going electronic. People voting online. Now, do you think that will actually work? It can work if we sincerely want it to work. It can work. It is just like a situation that we have CCTV cameras in some part of Lagos, and some people just believe that it must not work because they don't want to get caught when they are doing their evil things. That is the same, because in advanced country, people are now going electronical in their voting system. People vote electronically, but here in Nigeria, because we want to rig, because we want to win election at all costs, because we have spent so much money to campaign and get nominated as candidates, we want to win election by all means possible, rigging and all that, and that may not be allowed electronically, and that is why we have not been able to vote electronically in Nigeria. People will make it to fail.
How shall we that it will work? Because how shall we that the politicians won't have an impact when it comes to this electronic voting? Because we have hackers.
There is no way. Even if you if you tell us now that Nigerians must vote electronically, you have people that can be used to hack the results.
Yes.
People can be used to post fake results. So, and like I said, it depends on us. If we want it to work, it will work. But the problem is that the present crop of politicians that we have in Nigeria will not allow it to work because we spend too much money on electioneering campaign. If people have sold their houses, sold their property to campaign for elections, they will want to win by all means. So anything that will stop them from winning, they are ready to remove it from their way. And so the moment you remove money from our politics, then we probably will be right for electronic voting.
Okay, so away from that, let's discuss, SARS. So after days of protesting and all that,
excuse me.
Sorry. After days of protesting, youth protesting, coming out to say they should end SARS. Now, it has actually been ended yesterday, according to Inspector General of Police. Now, do you think scrapping SARS is a good idea? Because according to some people, they say SARS existence has continued, to ensure law and order.
Well, I want to say that I condemn totally the evils perpetrated by the officers of SARS. That body, that special squad of the Nigerian police, has deviated from the original motive for which it was created. SARS was a child of necessity. In those days, we used to have serious robberies in Lagos and other parts of Nigeria. In those days of Shino Rambo, from Monday to Sunday, they will operate freely in a convoy of not less than 20 cars. They will kill people, dispossess people of their cars and all that. So, and the regular policemen and even the mobile policemen were not able to stop that spate of robbery then. Then the police high command decided to put their heads together and establish this special squad to battle armed robbery. And I remember in those days, former governor of Lagos State, Colonel Buhari, also set up what is known as RRS today in the name of Operation Sweep. RRS started as Operation Sweep, and then former Governor Tinubu changed it to RRS. And at that time, SARS was able to curtail the spate of robbery then. But like I said to some of my friends, it has seriously deviated because we now have people who have ulterior motives apart from ensuring that they face armed robbery. They reduce armed robbery to the barest minimum. Some even said thieves and armed robbers have been recruited into SARS. I want to blame the police authorities for that because we all run into SARS officers every day, and what they were doing then was bad. Once you are not able to identify yourself, even if you do, they still go ahead to extort money from you. Last week on the Benin-Shagamu Expressway, we saw a lot of them, FSARS, State SARS, anti-kidnapping. What you see on the highway is extortion galore. And it is sad. It is a good thing that SARS has been disbanded, but it is again a dangerous thing because we need a special squad that will be honest in its fight against robbery. Otherwise, I have this fear that these disbanded SARS members some of them could turn to armed robbers again to justify the reasons why they must come back.
Do you think giving them too much power was part of what deviated?
Excuse me.
Yes. Do you think that's what actually deviated them from their original concept?
No, their mode of operation is simple. when there is robbery anywhere, they are drafted to go and attack and quell that robbery. Then they have the power to investigate robberies and arrest culprits. But unfortunately, they have deviated from that, and that is why we have this problem of killing and maiming of people all over the place. So we need to reform the entire police force in Nigeria, because if you don't, we are still going to have a recurrence of what led to the disbandment of SARS. Don't forget that in those days, the present crop of mobile policemen were called gudu-gudu. Kill and go. Gudu-gudu, kill and go. We call them those names because they will kill and nothing will happen. But eventually the police high command was able to reform the mobile police, and now we have less killings among them. But this group of young men in SARS, some of them are stark illiterates who didn't go to school. Excuse me. When you hand gun over to them, they will misbehave. That is what has happened. We should look for people that are slightly educated and can think on their own. Because if you don't condemn the police 100%, if you meet senior officers in the police, you will see a different attitude to that job. You will see different behavior to that job. You will see more decent and humble people in the police. But when you come to the rank and file, sergeants, corporals, and all that, you see all sorts of people. They will even speak, you will be speaking English to them. They don't even understand what you are speaking. They don't understand what you are saying. One of them stopped me on Mobolaji Bank Anthony Way. He was riding a bike and he said, "Oh God, you have violated the law." And I said, "Which law?" He was just looking at me. He couldn't even tell me the law that I have violated. If you are asking me, if you are telling me that I have violated the law and I'm saying, "Tell me the law," you just stood there and start looking at me. He lost confidence in himself totally because he didn't expect that I would confront him the way I did. So you need highly educated people in the police. I'm not saying make graduates the highest limit. You may not get good hands because no graduate will want to come into the police as a corporal. You know, yes, but make the recruits go through training in human relations, make them go through training in interpersonal relationship and all that, so that at the end of the day they will not come out as an embarrassment to the entire police force.
Okay, Mr. Lu, let's go on a short break, and of course when we come back we'll continue from where we stopped.
Professor Idowu Olayinka, the Chief Returning Officer, Vice Chancellor of the University of Ibadan. And here we come.
So I, Idowu Olayinka, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Ibadan, hereby certify that I am the returning officer of the ONDO State governorship election held on the 10th day of October, year 2020. That the election was contested. That the candidates received the following votes. Rotimi Adeleye Akeredolu, male, A party, 292. 292. Joshua Oluwafemi Adewale, male, 093. 93 votes. Adeleye Adekunle Peter, male, of AAC 814 votes. Adelegan Adedapo Oluwaseyi, male, of ADC 2,440, 2,440. Martin Kunle Olateru Olagbegi, male, of ADP 3,464, 3,464. Oluwarotimi Odunayo Akeredolu, male, of APC 292,830, 292,830, 292,830, 292,830. Olowoloba Dele, male, of Abga 271, 271. Akim Olanrewaju Abinu, male, of APM 309, 309. Olaoluwa Adesanya, male, of APP 527, 527. Okwade
Okay, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Today in the News from Vanguard Live, and my name is Damilola Ogushaki. I've had a guest with me in the studio analyzing the front pages of the paper, and he's in the person of Mr. Ali Mohammed. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so before we went on the break, we were talking about SARS. Now that SARS has been disbanded, and we understand that they've been transferred to all the police units. Now, don't you think that when they go to those units, they will actually corrupt the people that are there?
My fear is that I want to ask if these SARS officers have been disarmed. They are in possession of very dangerous weapons. Has the police authority disarmed them? If not, it is dangerous. They have to be disarmed. Otherwise, they will come out and unleash terror on the populace in the guise of armed robbery, just to justify the reason why they must come back. So the police authorities should go a step further to disarm these boys. It is very important. Very, very, very important. Then talking about whether they can corrupt the other sections that they might be posted to. Yes, it is possible. Like I said, I advocate for a total reorientation of the Nigerian police force. There is need for them to take courses on human relations, interpersonal relations. I don't know if they do all that apart from their normal routine police training. You need to take courses on how to relate with people. That is the cause of all this shooting. An average SARS officer stops you and start bullying you from the onset. And if you have that kind of interaction with the people, it will normally result to violence. You cannot stop me and start bullying me in my car and expect that I will not react. So there must be total reformation of the Nigerian police. I don't know how they are going to do that, whether gradually or totally or at once, but I believe that the entire police force should be reformed. People should be taught how to interact with the people. We are not animals, for God's sake. I am sure the federal government agreed to disband SARS because they saw the widespread of the protest. It can easily lead to a revolution. if care is not taken. And I learned this morning that the protest is still all over the place. Yes. So I want to appeal that now that SARS has been disbanded, we should give the government the benefit of the doubt that all these brutalities within the Nigerian police force will stop.
Okay, now still talking about, let's just talk about that protest. You know, we have youths protesting on a Monday morning. A lot of youths came out last week to protest, and over the weekend now. Is this not saying something about the unemployment, in Nigeria?
You see, if you look at the history of protests in Nigeria, all the protests we've had have been hijacked by hoodlums, frustrated people, the agitated people will normally come out to hijack every protest that we have had, and this is not an exemption. So it should be expected. I think the authorities should find a way of managing this crisis. Otherwise, we are going to have a lot of deaths.
No, but is this not saying something that we have that the level of unemployed youths in Nigeria, it's actually very high?
It is high. It is very high. And again, I am an employer of labor. The kind of group of youths that we have these days are not. Some of them are not ready to work. All they want is to have easy access to money. I've had to employ people, and you give them the opportunity to work. At the end of the day, you put yourself in trouble. They will steal your money and look for every opportunity to defraud you while you are struggling to pay their salaries. So that is one problem. Then again, if you say that the government should create employment, fine. But all of us cannot be employed in government agencies. Why can't we look inward into trading and then some other things that can engage us? Let us go into farming, trade. I have seen somebody who lost over $1 million trying to seek a visa to travel abroad. If you have over $1 million, what are you going abroad to do? You can easily start a trade with over $1 million here. So again, we need to reorientate our youths. Everyone that is looking for cheap money, not all of them will get it. Some may be successful through Yahoo and all that, but the truth is that their days are numbered. Their days, people should be ready to work very hard for whatever they are going to earn. And that is one thing that we are lacking. We need total reorientation of our youths. A lot of them, 70% of them, are looking for an easy way to get money. And it is not a good orientation for us as a nation. We must reorientate them towards working hard. You are here. I know you've come all the way from your place to this place, and you are working. Some people are not ready to work. They are still sleeping. Some youths are still sleeping as we are talking. I have been up since 4:30 working. So if everybody have the same orientation, then we will be able to combat unemployment. But people should not sit down and be looking at government to give us jobs. We have enough jobs all over. If people go out, some people are there on the farm working hard. We need more people to join them. So we must have a reorientation and then go all out to do our best to earn an income and not sit down there to wait for government. Government have a lot of things, a lot of problems on its hand now. You have insecurity. You have so many problems that the government is confronting. And as a result, every graduate should learn some kind of trade, so that if you are unable to get an office job, you can trade by the sides until you have an office job. So that one should be, that aspect of our lives should be embraced, and you don't just sit down there and be waiting for white collar jobs. No, I work in a farm Forget about whether I'm a journalist or not. I have a farm. So if you have something like that by the side, you probably will be solving the problem of unemployment without any intervention from the government.
Okay, let's talk about NECA's report. So your latest report shows that 102 million Nigerians are living in extreme poverty. That's out of the estimated population of about 205 million Nigerians. So what are your thoughts on this? Because this report now is said not to cover Borno State, because of their long, decade-long Boko Haram attack. So what do you actually think about this?
It is disturbing. The figure that I read this morning is disturbing, and like I said, I believe that it has reached a level that the government alone cannot solve the problem of poverty in Nigeria. We have to, on ourselves, start creating jobs. Let me tell you the story of a graduate that I know who got 30,000 and started selling bottled water in a car park. Today, she runs about 3 shops that distributes assorted soft drinks.
I think if Nigerians hear you, they will tell you that motivation speaking does not work again.
Yeah, you can say that again, but some people still believe that they can start from the scratch and get to the top. The problem we have mainly in Nigeria is that everybody wants to start from the top, but you must start from the bottom and rise to the top. That is one problem. 2, we have gotten to a stage in Nigeria that if care is not taken, we can slide into recession any moment. With the COVID-19 pandemic and the global economic crisis, Nigeria can easily slide into recession any moment from now. So now that we have this crisis, do you continue to rely on government for employment? My answer is no. We have to be creative now.
Okay, now we are talking about people being creative and some of them being entrepreneurs, and we have a lot of people who have actually ventured into being entrepreneurs recently, but they are saying that Nigeria's environment actually is not welcoming to them, and also they believe that Nigeria government is actually wasting a lot of resources and time into doing the wrong things instead of creating infrastructures and creating an enabling environment for youth to venture into entrepreneurship.
I was going to say that because you see, if you want people to be creative, they must get some level of support from government, from banks and all that. Some banks have earmarked some loans for people now. I spoke with one of the bank officials last week that First Bank has about 30 billion for traders. People should embrace that kind of opportunity. You don't sit down and wait for the government. Yes, there is a lot of bad governmental policies that are affecting the growth of businesses here. But as bad as it is, I believe that we should encourage small and medium enterprises. I keep saying it because you see, we all cannot work in government offices. Yes, government is also not doing anything to encourage the people to set up all these things, but the banks have been instructed, the central bank has instructed some banks to give out loans. Again, our people have this negative attitude to taking loans because they see it as a way of selling away your rights. No. If you take a loan of 50,000 naira, depending on what you want to sell, if you are consistently repaying your loan, chances are that you will get another loan. But we have the culture of not wanting to pay back loans in Nigeria. Even the big boys, they will collect the billions and they will not want to pay back. And that is why we have EFCC, ICPC dragging a lot of them and seizing their property in Nigeria now. But you see, if you take a loan and you are consistent in payments, you won't have any problem with that loan. But people don't want to pay back. So we should embrace all these loans that the banks are coming out with presently, because the truth of the matter is that the economy is bad, not only in Nigeria, even abroad. They are locking down again in the United Kingdom now. But the government of the United Kingdom is afraid to lock down London. Why? Because they are afraid that if there is lockdown in London, it is going to have a negative effect on the economy. So if you are talking about Nigeria, look at some other countries, even Ghana, they are having economic problems. So we cannot 100% put this blame on the government. The governments have its own share of the blame, because I expect that as a government, you must create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. But in the absence of that, we have to struggle on our own to come out of poverty, because every Nigerian has this feeling that you must get something from government. They believe that government money is free, so that's why everybody wants to have a bite from government money. So it is not possible. We must sit down and think about what we want to do on our own and go all out for it. Let us, if you look at Nigeria as at today, if you are into sewing, chances are that you may not make money. Why don't you go into something that is food based? Because every day people wake up and eat, people wake up and drink water. So sit down and start thinking along that line.
So somebody
study
their markets.
Yes. But as I have not had any cause to give any clothes to a tailor in the last 1 year. But I'm eating. I must eat every day.
Yes.
So you have to sit down and reorientate yourself and tailor whatever you want to do towards things that people consume now. So people are strategizing and adjusting their spendings mainly on food and anything that is related to the sustenance of their families. So if you sit down and say you are a tailor and you want to remain a tailor, then there is going to be a problem.
Okay, so talking about food now, I want you to actually comment on this lastly. Talking about the federal government wasting money and resources and time on the on other things. Now, federal government now earmarks 152 billion naira for electricity, and out of this, Information Ministry plans to spend 1.3 billion on travels and refreshments.
That is rubbish. That is nonsense. It's unacceptable. Look, like I said, if you look at the spendings of government, we should devote more time to agriculture now in Nigeria. Yes, electricity is important. It is crucial.
But the problem Nigeria is having is this 1.3 billion naira to be spent on just refreshments and travel.
I just say it is not right. We must, if you look at the vote for agriculture in next year's budget, it is still very low, very, very low. We must encourage agriculture. We must encourage good healthcare system in Nigeria. I expect that with this COVID-19 easing out, Nigeria should start the construction of a world-class hospital so that we stop all these foreign trips for medical treatment. Yes. We know the number of VIPs that died during COVID-19 because we don't have the basic medical system to handle their situations. I expect that with that, by now we should be constructing world-class, at least 4 in different parts of Nigeria that people can go to and be sure that they will have good treatment. We are not doing that. I expect that by now, agriculture, a part of the budget of Nigeria will go specially into agriculture. Bishop David Oyedepo, I must commend him. He has asked students studying agriculture to stop paying tuition. That is a way to encourage students to study agriculture. And I expect the government to toe that path and have an emergency vote for agriculture, because what I am looking at in the next 3-4 years, the ability of Nigerians to feed will be seriously affected by this poverty.
Estimated for it to reach 150
by
billion.
this poverty declining, high rate of poverty in Nigeria. So we really have to handle it. We have seen what has happened with these protests. A lot of hungry people are out, despite the fact that you have disbanded SARS. Then we still have pockets of protests all over Nigeria. We have to be very careful. People are hungry. This kind of situation can lead to a revolution, and we really need to be very careful as a people, as a government, to ensure that revolution does not come into Nigeria as soon as possible.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks for sharing your thoughts with us this morning. And of course, we've had Mr. Aliu Muhammad with us in the studio. He's the CEO of Magnet Communications, the former editor of Concord newspaper and Daily Times Nigeria. And of course, he has analyzed the front pages of the papers with us and the main, of course, things trending in Nigeria. And of course, if you want to get more of our top stories and things going on around the world, you can always visit our website www.vanguard.Nigeria.com, and also subscribe to all our social media platforms, get more of our top stories. It's a Monday morning, of course, the start of a new week. Enjoy your week and also enjoy your day. It's bye from me, Damilola Ogushaki, on Vanguard Live.